One of the reasons I so got into Dennis Prager when I first started listening to him when I was at UCLA in 1988 is that he talked about ethics being most important. That what God most wants from us is that we be good to each other. Just like a parent wants siblings to treat each other well, so God, our Heavenly Father, the Father of all humanity, is most interested in how we treat other people. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. If there's a God, then he would be most interested in how his creation treats each other. Then Dennis Prager talked about something called holiness, and that is elevating our behavior from the animals, so that in those areas where human beings have the most in common with animals, or have the potential to have the most in common with animals, such as eating and sex, Judaism has the most laws about that we should be holy, not just be ethical. And so you shouldn't eat like a pig or eat like an animal, and you shouldn't have sex like a bunny rabbit, meaning with a multitude of partners. You should elevate yourself, and so that was interesting. Then I remember Dennis was giving a lecture at Stephen S. Wise. I used to go there from 1994 to 1997, and he would speak 1 or 2 Sabbath mornings a month, and he gave a talk once about how holiness protects ethics, that if you pay attention to Judaism's laws of holiness with the aim of being a good person, that they will protect your ethical commitments as well. So if you're sensitive to keeping the dietary laws and keeping the Sabbath and proper speech and proper dress, that you're more likely to be sensitive to the way you treat other people. So Judaism has like red light and green light before you do everything in life. There's a Jewish way to tie your shoelaces. There are blessings to say after going to the bathroom. There are prayers to say 3 times a day. And if you pay attention to God for these ritual concerns, it will inevitably bleed over and help you lead a more ethical life. And I've just never gotten over those 3 words: holiness protects ethics. I guess because many years I wrote about the sex industry, which was kind of the epitome of unholiness. And I saw how when someone had worked in the sex industry, people in regular society just treated them like they were dirt frequently, just had absolute contempt for anyone who worked in the sex trade. And I thought, is there anything that someone can do to be more demeaning than to be a hooker? And for much of the population there is not, that they're just treated like dirt. And thinking that the working in the sex trade is about the most undignified work that you can do, perhaps the most unholy. Certainly not the most unethical, but the most unholy. It does tend to rob one of dignity. And I often thought back to Dennis Prager's point that holiness protects ethics, that if you start having concern for the Sabbath, for how you dress, for how you speak, this will tend to bleed over into how you treat other people. Holiness protects ethics. The ethical laws will be violated if the question of the holy ceases to function. So he makes the point that if Jews abandon the dietary laws, kashrut, the laws of kosher, that they pretty soon cease to be Jews. So they abandon the distinctive practices of Judaism, and soon they or the children or the children's children are lost to the Jewish people, and the distinctive moral and ethical teachings and concerns of Judaism are also lost once you abandon the ritual practices. And among the purposes of those ritual practices is the acknowledgement that Jews are to be a separate people, not to be like everyone else. And they are to be a kingdom of priests, a nation of priests, a holy people. And Dennis quotes from the Jewish prayer book, which says the holy God is made holy through what? You'd think the holy God is made holy through holiness. No, the holy God is made holy through righteousness, through right action. Holiness protects ethics. I've never forgotten that line.